Hi all, welcome back to the channel. We're back on the internet together again today. We're going to be talking about mass redundancies happening across the board, across the country, but more specifically, there's a lot happening in Victoria. We're also going to be talking about the increase in retail crime, violent and threatening retail crime in Victoria.
It was a dark day for workers at Australia's fourth largest bank. ANZ staff towing the company line and putting on a brave face. Are you worried about losing your job?
No.
The bank's boss says,
Like petrified to say anything at risk of being clipped. I want to say something because they say, oh, towing the company line, all that sort of thing. The reality is people get very attached to their places of employment, and understandably so. You spend most of your waking hours there, your most productive hours of the day, where you have the most energy at work, working in your job or building your career, whatever you want to call it. So it's very understandable that people get emotionally attached to that because also it is your form of security. No job, no money. Right? There's no feeding kids. There's no paying the mortgage down if you don't have the savings buffer going on. So it's a very stressful time to be losing your job. And it's a very emotionally draining time, and it's a very stressful time for anybody who gets made redundant. Because all that safety net, all that effort you may have put in with that company and all the extra time you did, it doesn't count for anything because you're just a number on a spreadsheet, and we're going to see that the more that this program goes on.
his frontline staff aren't facing the axe.
The people in the branches are not being touched. We're not touching our call centers. We are not touching, for the most part, our complaints management team.
Nuno Matos wants a leaner operation to improve risk management and insists jobs aren't being lost to AI.
This is not a...
Yeah. All right. I want to say one thing here. So hang on. I reckon there's a bit of a bigger play here. You need to look behind the curtain a little bit. So ANZ brings in this CEO. He's originally from Portugal to come in, do the dirty work essentially, cut, and then he'll get his golden handshake and he'll be off. And he'll be off back overseas, probably getting this as a credential, and then he'll go work at a bigger bank at another global institution somewhere. Not based in Australia. That's the complete strategy why you'd bring him in, because they can decouple from it. He's going to say here, because I watched this, it's not about profit. These cuts aren't about profit. It's about efficiency. Okay, so if you were to, say, make these cuts and it was to cost you money, would you be doing them? Or if it was to impact your profit? So come on, let's not talk rubbish here. Basically, this is generally what happens. New CEO comes in, new senior leadership team comes in. They've got to be seen to make a big impact. They're going to clean up. They're going to get consultants in to tell them how to do this, how to restructure in a way that's optimal. This guy can then achieve his performance bonus. Shareholders are happy because the share price goes up because margins are better. Everyone's happy apart from the workers. Apart from the workers who make the place operate, who get cut into a bad market. Now, this isn't the only bank doing it. It's been happening. It's been actually quite brushed over in the news. I've noticed, but I've known people who worked at CBA and Westpac and other places like Telstra, and they are doing huge cuts. They are gutting whole teams at hundreds at a time. You're not really hearing too much of that on the news. It's kept very quiet. I wonder why that is.
About profits. This is what we need to do for a brighter company, for a better company.
This is not, as the new CEO, Nuno Matos calls it, a flagging bank. Since when is a $7 billion profit flagging and failing as a bank?
It goes to show people say, oh, why are these big companies, why aren't they looking after us? They can afford it. They're a massive leader in industry because they're ruthless. And what people need to realise, it doesn't matter if you're there 5 years, 10 years, 20, 30, you can be put on the chopping block. One one little backspace, press the delete button on the spreadsheet, you're gone. You're out. They've worked out your redundancy calculations. You're gone. Done. Thank you very much. That's how these big businesses thrive. So all these people get upset. They go, I can't believe they did it to me. I gave them so much extra time. I was working on the weekends. I was getting in early. I was leaving late. I wasn't taking my lunch break, thinking that it's going to save you, or thinking that it's going to be seen as something special. That's why I'll say one thing to people. Working hard or too hard, I'm not saying don't be good at your job, don't be proficient, but in most jobs, working overly hard, all that gets you is more work. Been there, done that. I've been that bright-eyed young kid, thought he was taking over the world. You want to stay up all night and do work, they're going to give it to you, and you're not going to get paid any more for it. It's going to be long forgotten when your performance appraisal or your annual remuneration update comes out. Yep, thanks, you met expectations. Biggest scam ever. So go do your job, don't kill yourself because you're going to be put on the line. And I'm telling you now, there's going to be a lot more than this. Okay, we've got Australia more or less saying that we've avoided recession. Unemployment is fine. Inflation's under control. Job done. That's not what I'm saying. I've been made redundant before. I can tell you now, that's not a very nice feeling at all. Very difficult to get jobs at the moment as well, everybody. You are fighting against a lot of people who are also desperate to get a job. It's a very bad time out there. I'm going to say even more in Victoria. Victoria's going to play basket case. The joint is absolutely bankrupt. And the majority of these jobs here at ANZ that are being cut, amongst other institutions, are in Melbourne and the wider Victoria area. It's like we're absolutely cooked.
3,500 jobs will go by next September, around 8% of its global workforce. Another 1,000 contractors will also be axed. Staff who worked for Suncorp Bank when it was taken over by ANZ in 2024 are protected under the bank's obligations to the federal and Queensland governments. The restructure will cost the bank $560 million before tax.
It is simply outrageous, this behaviour. If we can't rely on one of our most profitable top 10 ASX companies in this country to employ and offer good jobs, I'm not sure what we can rely on.
How you can rely? You bet your bottom dollar that they're going to be trying to lean heavily on artificial intelligence. Every business is talking about this. Every leadership is talking about it. The workforce, you're an expendable drones. That's all we are. That's all you are. Technology will come in. I don't think it's there right yet. I still think it's a bit of the boogeyman. I think a lot of these companies are making huge cuts to workforces to have AI chatbots do the work. I think very prematurely. That's just my view. It's my gut feel on it. I don't think the AI is there yet to replace jobs, but I do think it will be there given a number of years. If you can be replaced, any business will replace you. That's just the way business works. Keep your overheads down. Biggest overhead in a business is people. So if they can replace people with a one-off investment in technology and maybe a few people who can monitor that technology and update it and troubleshoot it, they're going to do it. Think about the supermarkets. It's become normal now. There was a huge uproar about it, 10 years ago or whatever when they started doing those automated checkouts and all that sort of thing. That's just normal now. People just use that. How many of those jobs are gone? You got a couple of people in the registers. The rest are going through those self-service checkouts. What I noticed as well with Woolworths and Coles, they have these trolleys now that when you put something in your trolley, you can take this tablet around with you, this little device. You can scan it as you're putting it in the trolley, and it works out your tally as you go. So therefore, further removing the need for somebody to process your goods at the register, be your cashier. So that's all going to go the way of the dodo, even more so.
The Financial Services Union said staff in Melbourne are predominantly in the firing line. The union says 800 workers will find out if their jobs are going this week, while the ANZ's boss says he expects most of the job cuts will be done by early next year.
Our members are absolutely distraught. Many of them found out this morning while they were at home making the kids sandwiches for school or on their commute to work. They got their news feed on the phone.
I don't think that's true.
It's absolutely devastating. As I said, I've been made redundant before. It comes as a shock to everybody. I'll tell you, it's up there with one of the more stressful occurrences in your life. So you've gone from a place of what you felt was a secure job to literally being told, okay, you got a week or you got 2 weeks or you're out on the spot. They'll march you out the door and all that sort of thing with a little bit of a payout if you're entitled to one, if you've been there over a year. And that's it. You're out on your ass on the street. So people say, oh, you go to these big companies. They're very secure, long-term jobs. They're successful businesses that can withstand downturns. This is nothing new. Like these banks, they're notorious for just wiping whole teams. This has been going on for as long as I've been in corporate or involved in corporate or know people who've worked in corporate. It's always the banks. It's okay, you can take the job there if you can get one. You might be paid quite well, but every 18 months they do a clean out. So your neck could be on the line.
It's not the first time staff have been caught off guard by management. Some staff recently facing redundancy received an automated email before getting a tap on the shoulder.
I publicly came and I apologize.
Oh, that's great. Good on you, mate.
First to the employees and second publicly. So I regret.
Your words mean nothing. You've just sacked, you're sacking, or you have sacked, or you're going to sack another 4,500 people. Yeah, I apologised, People are like, oh, okay, he apologised that they found out ahead of time due to a leaked email that went out, which is just egregious and incompetent at the very least as well.
A lot is an unacceptable mistake.
Analysts expect more mass layoffs in the banking sector over the next 12 months.
It has to be the tip of the iceberg because obviously ANZ is very different. But you're seeing at the moment, like obviously with the introduction of AI and other cost efficiencies, that's going to be a feature of the banking industry. So you'd expect over the next few years they'll be losing a lot of jobs. Between the major four, it could be in the tens of thousands.
ANZ relies heavily on mortgage brokers, which squeezes its margins, and analysts say the job cuts are about finding savings elsewhere.
They really need to lean into costs at the moment, and that's exactly what Nuno's doing, and it's really his only lever at this point in time.
This mass sacking of workers is another PR disaster for the bank, also facing an ASIC investigation for alleged misconduct in its bond trading division.
Oh, yeah, well, who cares about the bank's reputation? Someone likes them anyway. You don't look at the bank and go, oh, there's great people there. So my view on the banks, before I get on to the next topic, is banks are completely parasitic. They will nickel and dime you the whole step of the way. You'll get fees and charges for even accessing your own money, transferring money. I had to transfer a sum of money to another bank. They said, oh, that couldn't be done unless you pay us $20. What? How does it cost you $20 to press a button on a computer and send it to another bank? You have a mortgage, right? You're paying these banks tens of thousands of dollars a year in interest on your mortgage, but they still want to charge you an annual package fee, an annual account servicing fee. What's the account servicing? Like, what are you servicing? It's all bull. It's all trash. They're complete parasites. I don't think they need to worry about their reputation. They're a necessary evil for people if they want to have a house over their head, a roof over their head, buy the dream, but then the bank owns you. All right, halfway. If you're enjoying the content today, consider subbing to the channel. I've been touching a few touchy subjects lately, so I'm just going to get off that for a little while and keep it. This is not even light, but it's a lot lighter than what I have been talking about over the last couple of days. Consider liking, commenting. That really helps me out. Apparently there's some hype button. If you swipe right on the comments, it doesn't appear for everybody and on every video. Apparently my videos can be only hyped 3 times a week. I'm still learning about this function, but if you do see it, press it because it does help me out. It gets my videos out there, and I appreciate all your support, guys. All right, let's jump into now violent crime in supermarkets, specifically in Victoria.
I do feel disappointed that retail is coming to this. It's not meant to be this way.
Reckless and relentless. Brazen thieves are smashing through glass, threatening staff, and taking off with stock on almost a daily basis. Retailers say they are facing the worst scourge in retail crime since they opened their doors for business.
I have been spat at, I've been verbally abused, I've been threatened. I did have moments where my family were questioning my safety at work.
It is a crisis point. I mean, we get frustrated because we have to sit back and watch.
There's a sense of desperation from them that you see.
What's this bloke doing? If this dude pulled out a knife in front of me and went up to somebody, I'd be collecting him. He'd be just legs out from under him, taken down. That instinct would kick in. Pulling a knife, just watching him. I don't get what's going on in this country. People are losing their marbles. Absolutely losing their marbles. I don't know, is it drugs? Well, what is it? Who walks into a Bunnings and brandishing a knife? There was another one, people with shotguns running in.
It's like nothing's stopping them. Nothing will get in the way of them taking whatever they need and being threatening and aggressive towards our team.
For 22 years, Olivia has worked at Bunnings Warehouse in Melbourne. In the last few years, she says there's been a surge in thieves coming into stores armed with weapons and threatening staff.
We had a point where we had local gangs coming into the store. They would enter through different entry and exit points. We could see that it was very organised retail crime. They would come on a very regular basis as well with weapons and just walk straight out of our store with lawnmowers, barbecues, hot water services.
Oh,
Olivia says 12 months ago,
what is going on in this world? What is going on? As I said, people who do this, doesn't matter where you're from. You do this sort of shit, get out of here. This country has gone to the dogs. What's this walking, just punching someone in the face? Can you imagine that was your mum or your dad or someone like that? Your sister, your brother? What the hell?
she was getting calls almost daily about attacks on staff.
I've got mothers-to-be, I've got grandfathers, dads, mums, wives, daughters. And for me, I've got that responsibility to make sure that they are all going home safe to their family.
She was a strong advocate for tougher security measures like body-worn cameras and tactical security guards.
So these are guards that can actually physically apprehend anyone that is aggressive towards our team or customers and remove them from the store. Whilst we have put these measures in place that have made our store the safest it's ever been, we shouldn't have to do that. That's not fair. That's not fair on our team and our customers that we have had to put tactical security guards in place to keep everyone safe.
Theft.
What's that got to tell you about the state of this place? You got dudes dressed up in SWAT gear protecting the stores. I mean, there needs to be a wider crackdown on any person who wants to break these laws and attack people. I'm not carrying on about theft for the big chains, whatever. They can absorb that. It's about being violent to people just trying to make a few bucks. I mean, you're not being paid a fortune at Bunnings. Right? You want to go there, do your honest day's work and go home without getting punched in the face or stabbed or pushed over and your head hitting the concrete like that other person. Joint's cooked. And a lot of this is in Victoria, as you're going to see here.
In Australia has reached a 21-year high, with 500,000 victims of personal and retail theft recorded by police last year. That's a rise of 6%. Victoria recorded the biggest jump in theft with a 29% increase. Tasmania came in second with 11%, while some states recorded a drop.
Our worst team...
29%. 29%. I've got a theory on it. Well, it's definitely got something to do with cost of living. People just don't care anymore. People have lost the plot. If you're gonna walk into a Bunnings with a hammer and threaten someone with it without even thinking about the consequences of doing that, I just don't think you're obviously not caring anymore. You had enough of whatever's going on in society. You're not going to go in and you're going to take from this big company or however people think. I think it's got to do with no optimism for the future. We're in a tough time. Whether you hear on the news, as I was saying earlier, it's all good and unemployment is fine. It's not. Like, a lot of people are getting sacked. Victoria is very bad. Victoria is very bad. They're not telling you what's really happening here. They're not telling you the numbers. Like, what's unemployment? What's unemployment? What, you work an hour a week? So people are resorting to this sort of stuff out of desperation, anger, maybe drugs. I don't know. You guys put in the comments. What do you think?
Members have reported over 6,000 incidents last year, and that's a 26% increase on the year prior. So it's an escalating issue, one that we see right across the country.
Woolworths has resorted to creating a team dedicated to investigating incidents of violence and aggression. Sarah Farland leads the department.
So the role was established in February last year, and I lead a team of subject matter experts right across the business who are tasked with preventing violence and aggression for our retail workers.
We have the majority of our stores in Victoria, but we also have close to 30 stores in New South Wales and Queensland. And I'd say 95% of the issues that we are having today as a business are all in Victoria. So it's very Victorian-centric, which we do find disappointing. Hey, Paul.
G'day, Fred. How you going?
Good.
Fred Harrison is the CEO of Richie's IGA.
One of them actually had a bag, and she had another bag inside the bag.
In Melbourne's southeast, store manager Paul is describing an incident to Fred that happened that morning.
He just kept on walking, and I said, last chance, I want stock back or I'm calling the police. And he goes, come across the road and we'll sort it out.
Yeah.
So anyway, safety first. So
yep.
we can't tackle.
Fred says,
I don't know. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the right recourse. You get people who are trying to stop thieves and grabbing them. At the end of the day, you're not going to get paid any extra for stopping someone walking out the door with some goods. As I said, these big companies, they can absorb that. Probably the best way to go, as long as someone's not directly intimidating you with a weapon or going to attack you with it, stay away from them, just let them walk out. And they know that too. And that's why it's happening a lot. They know that if, the rules are, if someone's been aggressive, hostile, looking like a real threat, let them walk and let the police deal with it. Be interested to know how much of these, I'd love to know the stats, if they had some sort of stats around that, of the amount of people who are doing these crimes who actually get caught and persecuted or prosecuted. But persecuted probably should be the right way, but prosecuted. And how long? Like, what's the punishment? So there's no excuse for it.
cases of theft and aggression at Richie's IGA stores are skyrocketing.
It's getting to a point now where, a number of our stores, you've got to question when leases come up, do we want to remain in this area? Is it all round more profitable, safer if we just close and walk away?
The analysis that I've done is it's about 10% of stores experience about 50% of the merchandise loss. What's going to happen if they can't control that? They will close stores.
And those stolen goods often end up online, according to criminologist Michael Townsley.
Often you'll find people that are selling thousands and thousands of items, and it's like a department store. And if you go through their listings, they've got, fashion and apparel, they've got DVDs, they've got electronic items.
He says, despite their policies prohibiting it, a flourishing online black market for stolen goods on websites like eBay, Facebook Marketplace and Gumtree is fueling the crisis.
Often many of the things that they're selling still have the tags on, so they're brand new. And then the next thing that you want to look at is what price are they selling these items for? If it's a steep discount, you've kind of got to wonder, if these items are new, why haven't they returned them to the store and get the full ticket price for them?
We've got a situation.
That's very interesting, isn't it? Pretty clever, you know. Some of these people doing these crimes and setting up an online store and all that. If they put their mind to good use, they could start up a legitimate business. But people want a shortcut. But that's quite ingenious to do that, and probably getting away with it. I'd love to know if there are cyber police police, you know, and people that are scouring the internet for these unscrupulous sellers of these discounted stolen goods, and how do they prosecute them, or do these people just get free rein because they can say, I didn't steal it, it's not stolen, you can't prove it. Very interesting time we are living in.
Where
also our Facebook marketplace is full of that. Full of people selling things at super cheap prices, so obviously stealing and then putting up fencing stolen goods using the internet.
Organised crime or other forms of crime are really targeting specific products such as meat, beauty products, electronic products as well.
Chris Rodwell is the CEO of the National Retailers Association. He says the cost of retail crime to the industry has ballooned out to $9 billion a year.
We're especially concerned about smaller retailers that have had to wear significant increase in costs. And so this theft for some of them gets them to a point where it's very hard to conceive for them how they can continue in business.
How's that? That's astronomical. So hang on, so this crime is so prolific and so many goods are being stolen to the point where the business is no longer a going concern. That is just... I don't even know. I don't even know how they could do it. How can they stop this? I think a lot of these kids going in and swarming the stores, they know they're going to get off with a slap on the wrist. I also believe, in my opinion, that you'd have more senior criminals that are enlisting these, 13, 14-year-old kids, probably from troubled backgrounds, giving them a little bit of money, give a bit of pocket money and getting them to run in, do these crimes so their hands aren't dirty, these older people who are pulling the strings. And these kids, if they get caught, they'll be back out on the street pretty quick. There's no real consequence, apart from maybe a record. So it's almost like there is no real penalty for doing it. So you can understand why this is operating. So yeah, I think it would be that. So these kids from underprivileged backgrounds, no options, maybe school dropouts, very young, got a axe to grind. They get caught up with these guys that they look up to, all right, get in with a bad crowd. They then encourage them, say, hey, if you go and rip off a bunch of goods, you and 6 of your mates go run in there and do that. We'll give you $100 each, and that's $100 each to a 12-year-old. Mega dollars.
The association is calling for workplace protection orders, similar to AVO's, to be introduced nationally. This is a court order designed to protect employees and others at a workplace from personal violence, allowing employers to take action against offenders.
We're particularly keen for every government to follow the Australian Capital Territory in introducing workplace protection orders, which effectively stop repeat offenders from returning to a store and continuing to commit levels of crime.
Just tell them not to do it. Oh yeah, I'm not going to do it. I don't think that. Oh, don't go back there, mate. You've robbed that joint too many times. We're telling you not to go back and do that. You've been put on an order. Oh, okay, yep, I'm going to comply with that. Well, put them in a boys' home or something. Lock them up.
Been leveraging workplace protection orders in the ACT for 18 months, and we've seen a significant decrease in violence against our team from known high harm offenders. In fact, it's also a 99% decrease in violence that our team are now experiencing.
Fred Harrison argues the solution must go beyond protection orders. He's meeting with Victorian state ministers within weeks and will push for tougher bail laws to target repeat offenders.
I believe law and order is the biggest single issue facing Victoria at the moment.
There you go. We're going to leave it at that. Couldn't agree anymore. If you guys are new to the channel, check out the videos I made over the last couple of days. It says it all. Had a few people take issue with my coverage of those stories, but hey, it needed to be said. I didn't say anything that wasn't on the news. I just comment on news stories and give my opinions on them. But this is the real world we're living in, and it's a crying shame, really. This how far Melbourne, Victoria, even Australia as a general, really is. It's just going to the dogs. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Once again, press the hype button if it's there. Swipe right on the comments section. If it's not there, it's not there for everybody. So you're not going crazy, but that's where it is. All righty, thank you all.